Good morning. Welcome to the Planning Hearing Officer hearing for December 3rd, 2025. My name is Cassandra Pruitt, and I'll be the hearing officer today. The first step of the hearing is to read to the audience important information about the hearing procedures, so please take a listen now. The Planning Hearing Officer meeting is being broadcast live on Glendale TV, viewable on Spectrum Cable Channel 6 and AT&T Uverse Channel 99. Meetings are also streamed live and high definition on the city's webpage at glendaleca.gov/live and at youtube.com/myglendale and on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire devices using a free app called Cablecast and then choosing Glendale TV from the menu. Meetings are also archived on the city's website for viewing anytime at glendaleca.gov/agendas. For public comments and questions during the meeting, please call 818-937-8100. City staff will be submitting the questions and comments in real time to the appropriate person. This morning, we have one project involving two discretionary permit applications. The hearing will proceed as follows. First, I will read the description of the application requests. Then I will read the reports received from other city departments and other letters or communications from interested parties. Then the case planner will make a brief overview of the case, give analysis, and make a recommendation. Next, the applicant will be called up, stating their name, and will be asked to present the case within a 15-minute time limit. Then, others in support of or in opposition to the application and interested parties who are present at the hearing will be called upon to give comments, stating their name and speaking within a 3-minute time limit. After in-person commenters speak, then callers on hold will be connected to share their comments within a 3-minute time limit. For anyone watching the presentation on live TV, please note that any testimony must be received during the public hearing and cannot be accepted after the hearing is closed. If you have any comments to share, please call in during the hearing so your comments may be considered. For all speakers, whether in person or by phone, please note that a timer will chime when you have 30 seconds left of your time limit, and then it will chime again when the time limit has been reached. The applicant will then be given the opportunity to make closing comments within a 5-minute time limit in response to any testimonies given. Lastly, the hearing will be closed and the case taken under submission if a decision is not rendered immediately. If the evidence presented in the application and at the hearing meets the required findings of fact set forth in the Glendale Municipal Code, then the project can either be approved or approved with conditions. If the required findings of fact are not evident, then the request will be denied. After the hearing, the decision will be prepared in writing and will be in the form of a letter sent to the applicant and to all persons who responded to the public notice, either by speaking at this hearing or by submitting written responses, and who have provided their name and contact information. The date of the decision will be the date appearing on the letter. Records of decisions for all projects will be posted online on the Planning Division's website. Under the appeal provisions of the Glendale Municipal Code, Title 30, Chapter 30.62, the decision may be appealed to the Planning Commission within 15 days of the date of the decision. Anyone wishing to appeal must file online using the city's permit portal. For any additional information regarding the appeal process and submittal, please contact the case planner. Notification of this hearing was accomplished by the use of public notices, which were mailed to property owners and occupants located within 500 feet of the subject property. Public notices were also physically posted on the site in question and placed in the local newspaper. These official proceedings of the Planning Hearing Officer's hearing are being televised live and may be viewed online on the city's website. With that, we will now begin the hearing. So I mentioned we have two cases that we're reviewing, and those case numbers are P-CUP 0054112025 and P-AUP 0054332025. The project addresses are 820 and 822 East Colorado Street. The owner is Avitas Kashishian for Sayat Nova LLC. The business name is Sayat Nova, and the applicant's name is Ara Hirapetian. And the project description is request of an approval of a conditional use permit to permit the continued operation of a banquet hall and an administrative use permit for the on-site service and consumption of alcoholic beverages. I will now review the comments that were received from other city departments. It looks like there were just 2 responses received to the request for comments. One was from the police department. They mentioned that in the census tract, there's 5 on-sale establishments allowed, and there's currently 5 establishments in the tract, and that the crime statistics are 22% below the citywide average in the census tract. With that information, they recommend standard conditions of approval imposed on similar projects to ensure neighborhood compatibility. So there was a number of those, 19 that they recommended. And then the second response was from Public Works Traffic Engineering, but they said they do not have any comments on the project. So that was all that was received from the departments. Were there any public comment letters received in response to the public noticing?
No, there was not.
Okay, thank you. And no calls were received?
No, there was not.
Thank you. Okay, I'll now call on the case planner, Mr. Alan Lamberg, to present the case.
Thank you, Planning and Hearing Officer Pruitt. Good morning, members of the public. My name is Alan Lamberg. I'm the case planner for this project. And as was mentioned, the request is the approval of the conditional use permit for the continued operation of a banquet hall and the administrative use permit for the on-site service and consumption of alcoholic beverages in these 2 existing tenant spaces. The project qualifies for a Class 1 existing facilities categorical exemption because the project involves a continued operation of the aforementioned uses in the existing commercial tenant spaces and a 180 square foot building addition that will not increase the structure's floor area by more than 2,500 square feet. So that is the CEQA categorical exemptions. The project is located in South Glendale in a commercial services C3 zoned corridor featuring a mixture of retail, service, and office uses. The establishment fronts Colorado Street, mid-block between Everett and Adams Streets. The site is developed with 3 buildings and a surface parking lot with 42 parking spaces, 2 driveway aprons, and a valet parking booth. 2 banquet hall buildings, one addressed at 822, again, that's 822 Fronts East Colorado Street, and the other addressed 820 is situated at the rear southeast corner behind 822. Another building is at the opposite rear corner, addressed 810. That's a former retail liquor store that is currently vacant and not related to the banquet hall. Permits from 2016 and 2017 proposed a tenant improvement with a change of use and an addition linking the 2 buildings. However, those permits were not finalized and ultimately expired. So please note that the project site and floor plan indicate an intent to connect the 2 buildings through a 180 square foot corridor, including a gate leading to an open air area. That would be the site plan that was provided by the applicant. Regarding findings of fact, the staff report demonstrates that the 4 required findings of fact for a conditional use permit and an administrative use permit have been made for the project as follows. That for finding of fact A, that the proposed continued use will be consistent with the various elements of and objectives of the general plan. The project continues the use of Sciat Nova Banquet Hall with an accessory alcohol service and corridor connection between these 2 buildings. It's located in a commercial service C3 zone, which supports compatible commercial uses. It provides more parking than required, 42 spaces versus the 33 needed for this project, which minimizes traffic impacts. The approvals ensure compatibility with surrounding uses and proper oversight, and they do not negatively affect other general plan elements like conservation, historic preservation, housing, open space, recreation, or safety. Proposed site improvements such as landscaping, lighting, and trash screening will reinforce zoning intent and neighborhood compatibility. For finding of fact B, ensuring that all the use will not be detrimental to the public or the environment, the site being located in this commercial zone and surrounded by compatible commercial uses. Its location and orientation help minimize impacts on nearby residential properties. The conditions of approval will manage alcohol service, operating hours, noise, and security to ensure compatibility. Site improvements will be reviewed and permitted separately to maintain compliance and support neighborhood development. For finding of fact C, ensuring the use is compatible with surrounding uses and properties. The site is not in a high crime area, and the police have no major concerns. Alcohol service will be restricted to ABC licensed providers and governed by permit conditions. Security measures, including trained personnel and surveillance, will help prevent disturbances. Conditions of approval will ensure compliance with city regulations, including trash screening and lighting standards. The as-built corridor addition will be legalized through proper permitting to maintain safety and code compliance. And for finding of fact D, relating to the ensuring adequate facilities exist for the use. Utilities such as water, power, sewer are sufficient, and the as-built corridor will be legalized through permitting. The site provides 42 on-site parking spaces, again exceeding the 33 that are required for this project. Accessible parking and valet accommodations ensure smooth traffic circulation without affecting nearby infrastructure, and all new improvements will be reviewed to ensure compliance with utility and site standards. And finding of fact E, pertaining to demonstrating additional criteria required for an administrative use permit for alcohol service have been made for the project. This is in alignment with recommendations from the Glendale Police Department and California Department of Alcoholic Beverage Control. As you see on the screen here, this is a summary of those findings that are required by code, and pursuant to those regulations, the proposed use is permissible in the census tract. It's not a high crime area. It will not negatively impact surrounding uses. It provides adequate parking and loading facilities, and it includes conditions to mitigate potential negative impacts and promotes public convenience and economic development. Suggested conditions were made by Glendale Police Department, which were considered for the draft conditions of approval. No other city departments had comments regarding this application, and no public comments were received. As for the conditions of approval, what you see on the screen here is a summary of all the topic areas that the conditions address. And I'm just going to briefly annotate what the conditions that we'll find in the report, in the draft conditions. For alcohol regulations, it may only be served by licensed caterers indoors with food, and staff must be trained to prevent misuse or off-site consumption. For event operations, the facility may host up to 2 private invitation-only parties at a time, with posted schedules and no public access. Only, again, private events only. Landscaping and waste. Landscaping must preserve visibility, traffic visibility, driveway safety, and street trees with enclosed trash areas kept out of driveways and parking zones. Lighting and visibility must be security-focused. It must be under 16 feet in height and directed away from neighboring properties. For management and security, an on-site manager and security staff must monitor behavior, prevent nuisances, and manage late-night impacts and loitering. For noise and disturbance control, all noise, lighting, and odors must remain contained within the building with self-closing doors and limited guest access points. Operational limits, the facility must operate within approved hours, avoid nightclub-style events, and prohibit certain entertainment and after-hours use. Oversight and enforcement, the city staff must have access for inspections with all documentation on site. Repeated violations may lead to permit revocation, and the permit expires on December 3rd, 2035. Parking and circulation. Parking must comply with the city code with on-site valet and ADA access, no street queuing on Colorado Street, and there should be a designated loading zone. For project scope and compliance, it must follow approved plans, obtain all required permits, and submit changes for expansions for formal review. For security and surveillance, security staff and surveillance systems are required to monitor the premises, especially during large events, with clear visibility and no loitering. Site appearance, property must remain clean, graffiti-free, with no outdoor storage and signage that complies with city code. Lastly, smoking compliance, which is only allowed in designated areas in compliance with the fresh air ordinance of Glendale. Given all the information presented here and in the staff report, and with the recommended conditions of approval, staff recommends that the conditional use permit and administrative use permit be approved. This concludes my presentation. I'm available for questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I do have a couple questions for you. I noticed that the conditions of approval have changed a bit from the prior conditional use permit and administrative use permit that were approved some 10 years ago. Can you briefly summarize the main changes to the conditions and why?
Yes, Planning Hearing Officer Pewitt. I actually annotated what changed specifically, so people listening to the case here could also look back and look at the draft conditions. So for topic areas regarding the unpermitted alterations and additions, we have conditions that address those. Again, what I mean by unpermitted alterations is because the 2016 and 2017 permits had expired and they were not finalized. So conditions number 1, 2, 3, and 11, 1, 2, 3, and 11 address the unpermitted alterations and additions. So that provides a pathway for our normal design review and building permit process to make sure those things are accounted for. For the topic areas of parking and loading and traffic circulation, mainly because this project, the parking lot is generally as is, but there are some, there's the trash screening and there's no marked loading space. And we also have a condition regarding traffic circulation so that when people exit the premises, that they turn right only on Colorado Street and not left. So those conditions are found in number 5, 6, 17, 18, and 19. Again, that's 5, 6, 17, 18, and 19. Those conditions address parking, loading, and traffic circulation. Other clarifications, which are conditions that we've introduced in recent years for banquet hall type activities, which has become standard for most projects such as these. No more than 2 parties at a time. That's condition number 9. To ensure that events are clearly posted on the premises. That's condition number 12. To ensure that the landscaping at the driveway is maintained. That's condition number 13. And also to preserve the street trees that are in the public right-of-way. That's condition number 14. Again, those are recent standard conditions that we were applying for banquet hall events. Another condition for site planning. The trash bins on the site are not enclosed, which is required by code. So we're requiring condition number 16 requires that those open trash bin areas be enclosed by have an enclosure. And also condition number 29 to clearly state there's no outdoor storage allowed. So I think right now on the site there have been observed like a Connex storage, what is it called, a storage container? Mm-hmm. Yes, and so that's technically outdoor storage. It needs to be addressed. That's condition number 29. That's a summary of the conditions that are different.
Okay, thank you. Was there also a change to the condition of approval that talks about the operating hours?
Oh, yes, thank you. Thank you for addressing that. Yeah, the difference between the previous one was, I think the previous case broadly asked for 10 a.m. until midnight, I think. Oh, hang on, let me, reduction from 2. Oh, yeah. The previous case asked for 10 a.m. till 2 a.m. And I think this case specifically, the applicant and the owners have asked that the banquet hall can start 1 hour early at 9 a.m. And during the weekdays from Monday through Thursday, that they actually reduce their operating hours to midnight. So essentially, the main difference is that it opens an hour early, but during the weekdays, it's actually going to close 2 hours earlier. That's the main difference from the previous.
So on the weekend, does it open an hour earlier and then still stay open till 2?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, thank you for clarifying that. One other question for you.
Yes.
Regarding the request for comments, the responses from the different city departments, I noticed in my own research that there were some code compliance cases for the property that had to do with graffiti and trash. It looks like it was in January 2025, but I didn't see any response from Neighborhood Services. I just want to confirm they didn't send a response, right?
Yeah, I don't recall a response from Neighborhood Services.
Okay. And then I did notice condition 28 talks about making sure that there's not graffiti and trash on site. So that condition seems to address that.
It does.
Regardless of not having received a comment from them. So I just want to make sure that's known.
Certainly, and that is a standard condition for almost all conditional use projects.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I would like to now call on the applicant to make a presentation about the project, Mr. Ara Hayrapetian.
Good morning. My name is Ara Hayrapetian. I am the applicant of this project. So, my name is Ara Hayrapetian. I am the applicant of this project. Here we are requesting the renewal of a conditional use permit to allow continued operation of a banquet hall and renewal of an administrative use permit to allow on-site service and consumption of alcoholic beverages within the same existing food establishment. The site is located in the C3 commercial zone. The building and the site are consistent with all provisions of the zoning code regarding allowable floor area, height, required parkings, and landscaping. The use as a banquet hall is consistent with the neighborhood businesses, which are mostly retail, restaurants, and offices, and will not be detrimental to the public health or safety. The banquet hall has 42 parking spaces located next to the building, and the management also provides valet parking services during all banquet events to ensure ample parking availability. The owner recently made improvements to the existing landscaping by planting shrubs along the fence to block the parking lot view from the public right-of-way. There is photos on the site plan if you. The management also provides professional security personnel during events to guarantee the safety of patrons and the public. The business owner maintains all necessary and current licenses from federal, state, and county authorities. There is one condition that needs to be addressed. I'm talking about the approximately 180 square feet corridor that connects two buildings. That needs to be approved by planning department, and it needs a building permit, and we are already started working on it. Sayat Nova has successfully operated as a banquet hall for more than 20 years, strictly complying with all conditions of the previous conditional and administrative use permits. During this extensive period, the establishment has received only positive reviews, and no accidents or incidents have been recorded that could compromise the use as a banquet hall. The management is committed to maintaining this high standard of operation. Thank you. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. I do have one question for you. I want to ensure, have you carefully reviewed all of the conditions of approval, comparing the new conditions with the prior conditions, and are you okay with all of the conditions? You don't have any issues with any of them?
No, I don't have. If owner has. Yeah, I have one question.
Mm-hmm.
Can we, in case of course, a positive decision of our case, can we be granted for indefinitely for those permits, not for 10 years?
Oh, meaning that you would not have to renew this application?
Yes.
I will take that under consideration.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have any callers on the line?
No callers.
All right. Given that there was no callers and no members of the audience to make any comments, no rebuttal or responses needed from the applicant. So with that, I would like to thank everyone who participated in this hearing today and those who shared comments. The information will be considered along with the case file documentation, and the case will be taken under submission so that I can look into your request. Okay? This hearing is now officially closed. Thank you.